This news update is brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Get your sun power.
This is the 7 a.m. Barbados Today update for Monday, January 13th, 2014. I'm Kmar Jordan. The day of reckoning is almost here. In less than 72 hours' time, government is to begin the dreaded process of laying off scores of public officers. In an 11th-hour attempt to save at least some of those jobs, Prime Minister Frendo Stewart is meeting today with top officials of the trade union movement at government headquarters. This follows a second round of negotiations between the unions and the Ministers of Finance and Labour at the weekend, which ended inconclusively.
We cannot say, let's talk through this for 2 weeks and then start to look for another 2 weeks and then implement. That will carry us to the middle of February, in which case we won't be able to implement it by the beginning of March. And I think every Barbadian knows that we have to do something.
And once you're not given a guarantee, well, you know, there's much you couldn't say about that, but to come back and work at it to see how much you can narrow it down by, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to narrow down that figure.
We will respond fully, formally on Monday to those proposals. But I think they pretty much know where our position is. Of course, this situation cannot be, allowed to drag on.
Stop playing footsie with the lives of Barbadians. That's the firm warning from the leader of the opposition to the Prime Minister and members of his team. Mia Montley insists that government is engaging in a public relations stunt and she's having none of it. She was speaking ahead of the First People's Assembly put on by the opposition Barbados Labour Party last night. Addressing that same meeting, prominent hotelier Ralph Taylor warned that the tourism sector is the only means of getting the island's economy back on track. However, he warned that it's globally uncompetitive, and he says government needs to quickly address the issue of declining airlift. Taylor is also calling for an overhaul of tax policy for the tourism sector to make it a tax-free industry.
I believe we should review all taxes on tourism, making the product at source free of taxes so that it can be globally competitive while we impose taxes in our source markets. In other words, government should levy a charge on air tickets, like the British have done, for all tourism arrivals. This will provide the level of revenue that is desirable without pricing our product out of the market.
In other news, a King Garden St. Andrew man appears in court today to answer 4 drug-related charges. 42-year-old Jefferson Ricardo Yearwood has been charged with possession of cannabis, possession with intent to supply, trafficking and cultivation stemming from an incident on Saturday. Police say they were carrying out a search in King Garden when they discovered 776 marijuana plants being cultivated in a wooden structure. They also found about a pound of loose dried marijuana and a quantity of seeds. In sports, West Indies fast bowler Tino says the absence of big hitters due to injuries affected the team's performance in the first T20 against New Zealand at Eden Park on Saturday. West Indies crumbled to end on 108 for 8 after chasing 190 runs set by New Zealand and now need to win the second game in Wellington on Wednesday to square the series. Bess, who picked up 3 for 40 from his 4 overs after finding himself on the fringes in the ODI series, says the weakened squad has made the New Zealand tour much tougher. But he's confident the team can level the series with 1 more game remaining. Let's keep our fingers and toes crossed.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
McInerney Quality and Consolidated Finance invite you to trade in your old car for a new one. So, bring your car and come to McInerney Quality in Wildy. That's right, all trade-ins are welcomed. Any make or model we'll trade towards your new car. Plus, you get 2 years free insurance when you purchase a Kia, Mazda or Ford. And with on-the-spot financing by Consolidated Finance, you can drive away with something new. So, bring your car and come to McInerney Quality in Wildy. All trade-ins are welcome.
The Business Minute, every Tuesday and Thursday on this platform. Informative, up to the minute, up-to-date news you can trust every time.
In regional news, the Trinidad and Tobago government is bringing in 2,500 9mm pistols to deal with rising crime. National Security Minister Gary Griffith says the police force is not equipped to deal with the crime surge, and criminal elements appear to be better armed than the lawmen. He says the additional guns are an urgent necessity. Internationally, a state funeral takes place today for former Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, who died on Saturday at age 85. This will be followed by a military burial for the former leader, who spent 8 years in a coma after suffering a stroke. While tens of thousands of people are expected to attend the state funeral, his death has been celebrated in Palestine, where people have denounced him as a war criminal. And that's our 7 a.m. update. Join us again at noon. In the meantime, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, and like us on Facebook to get more news and sports. I'm Kmar Jordan. Have a great day.
This news update brought to you by...
Hi, I'm Red Plastic Bag. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like cold. Sunshine reigns in my country. I love it.
Catch the sun power.